Happy Monday to you. Welcome to Le Mafutanga. This is your Monday morning manna, and I'm Pastor Kazar, and I'm glad to be with you to share our final thoughts on the letter that Paul wrote to the church in Philippi, the book of Philippians, or the letter to the Philippians. Following this Wednesday's Zoom meetup, we will take a 1 week hiatus. Then at the beginning of August, we will begin a new series, a new topic with discussion, of course, on Matthew chapter 5, which was part of the Sermon on the Mount that Jesus gave. And I look forward to more uplifting and encouraging moments spent with each and every one of you. But let me just get right into it. Philippians chapter 4, verse 14 through 23, as we end this devotional time in Philippians, is an appropriate ending for to the Philippians, as Paul ends this letter with gratitude for this group and how they have shared with him their life. Now, I want to end this portion of our Le Mafutanga with a word of gratitude to all of you and for all of you. I look forward, of course, to Wednesday night meetups. I've heard so many of you sharing your hearts, your pains, your struggles, your willingness to be vulnerable, your openness to us. And you've shared your stories that touched my life personally, and I'm sure that others have been touched and blessed as a result. And I just want to say thank you. Thank you for sharing your life with me and with one another. And you see, Paul thanked the church in Philippi for sharing with him. Throughout the letter, 4 times to be exact, Paul remembered with gratitude how they shared with him the grace of God. They shared with him their work for Christ, and how they also shared in his distress and in his struggles, in his sufferings, where they were empathetic with Paul's situation. And not to mention the sharing of their personal goods and belongings. They gave Paul both monetarily and spiritually. Now, I've mentioned the word share quite a few times, and it's for good reason. First, Le Mafutanga was created for the purpose of fellowship and community, and of course for the purpose of sharing. And we all know what Le Mafutanga means, right? It means fellowship and community. And in this fellowship and community, we learn to share ourselves with one another. Secondly, the word share in the Greek is also the word for fellowship and community, which is the word koinonia. This word koinonia has a broader meaning than just fellowship or community or sharing. It has to do with belonging, and I go as far as saying partnership. Paul felt such gratitude for how this church shared in his sufferings, in their work to save souls for the kingdom, in sharing God's grace, and even of their own personal belongings, that he regarded them as partners of the gospel. And what does it mean to be a partner? I mean, in relationship terms, it means a sharing of love and of intimacy. Like in a marriage, everything is shared between you, between your bank account, your cars, your home. In business terms, it means that profits are shared, gains and losses are shared. I'm sure you get the point. And Paul, in his unselfish ways, was not concerned about benefiting personally through this. He wasn't concerned about what he would get in terms of a blessing from them, especially with money or some other type of payment. He was more concerned about their well-being and how they would be blessed as a result of sharing with him. Paul writes in Philippians chapter 4, verse 17, "Not that I seek the gift, but I seek the profit that accumulates to your account." And verse 18, "I have been paid in full and have more than enough." Paul, in his literary ways, uses a business metaphor that expresses the idea of partnership that he had with this church. Words such as profit, accumulates, account, paid in full, these terms are business terms that simply reiterates Paul's desire for a partnership. And I feel this way about the purpose of Le Mafutanga, that this is not only for the purpose of fellowship, community, or even sharing, but that we can call one another partners in the work of the gospel and of saving souls for God's kingdom. And my prayer is that this continues on, that we together will be faithful partners, partnerships, partakers, and sharers of not only ourselves, but all that God has blessed us with. And I know that I not only speak for myself, but for the ones who put this all together. Pastor Tala and her team, I believe, are grateful for all of you as I am. We value this partnership that we have together. Paul and his letter to the Philippians has really helped to bring us together. And our prayer is that this continues on and that you will all remain faithful, consistent, and hungry for God's word. And more importantly, for this time of sharing with one another. It has truly been a blessing. Let me ask these 3 questions. How important is fellowship and community to you? How important is fellowship and community to you? Second, what are values that you expect in a partnership? What are some values that you expect in a partnership? And lastly, and maybe this sounds like a survey question, but I think it will help the team to maybe consider some things in the future. But how has Le Mafutanga helped in terms of fellowship and community and sharing? So how has this platform been a blessing to you in those terms of fellowship, community, and sharing? And so I look forward to seeing each and every one of you on Wednesday as we discuss this final part of Philippians together. God bless you.